You're the SSS, correct? From Crossbell Police? His Excellency is expecting you inside. Don't keep him waiting. Right. Pardon us. He practically exudes arrogance. Classic Imperial Army. Overbearing as all Gehenna. Excuse us, Chancellor Osbourne. No music? We received word that you wish to speak with the Special Support Section. Do come in. There's the music. Magnificent view, isn't it? It's fascinating to think that mankind built a structure like this to look down on the world below. These walls in which we stand are proof that we've finally attained the glory the ancient civilization once held. So they are? Are you referring to the ancient Sumerians from over 1200 years ago? Everything I've heard about them makes it sound like they more or less had magic at their fingertips. Theirs wasn't necessarily a utopia, mind you. During last year's Liberal incident, a large floating city appeared over the kingdom. What? That city was constructed before the Great Collapse, yet was sealed away by human hands. It was a symbol of mankind's potential as well as its hubris. Our potential and hubris? You seem to be a very well-informed man. Oh, I wouldn't say I know everything. As far as Crossbell is concerned, I haven't discovered nearly as much as that priest Joachim Buenter did. How do you know about what that drug did? How do you... It's what we don't know that lends weight to the affairs of the world. If you had everything in the palm of your hand, life as we live it would be helplessly mundane. Valid, actually? Don't you agree, Wazy Hemisphere? Oh, so you know of me. Or do you? I get the sense my name is the only dirty little secret of mine you've uncovered. That would simply mean that you have none worthy of capturing my attention. Rude. No, my interests lie far more in the realm of the war god. More specifically, his successor. Yeah? The Imperial Intelligence Division. Their ability to gather information is second to none. To be fair, we've seen Lecter with Randy's uncle and cousin. Obviously, Lecter would know that they want Randy to be the successor. Like, this is not crazy amount of intelligence gained here. Where are my manners? I am Gileath Osbourne, representative of the Empire of Erebonia. I've heard much about you from Lecter. How does he know about Wazy? Well, apparently he just knows his name and doesn't care about anything else. Probably also from Lecter. Care to join me for a friendly chat before the intermission ends? Wazy was with us at the Schwartz auction, so Lecter was also there. Well then, Chancellor, what is it you wanted to discuss with us? You already seem all too aware of everything that's happening right now. No need to overthink it. This is nothing more than a civil conversation. There is something I would like to hear your opinions on, however. You actually care about my opinion on something? Wild. Our opinions? Yes, I'll be frank. How long do you think your precious crossbell will last? Ah, I see. You're just an arrogant piece of trash like I thought you were. Good to know. Yes, he was there when Lecter hit us with the cat. Oh, good times. I wonder how that cat is doing now. Bit of a loaded question, isn't it? On the contrary, I bear no ill intentions. History tells us that no political entity can last in perpetuity. And that's discounting the Orbital Revolution, which has accelerated all aspects of the contemporary world. How much longer can a land as contested as Crossbell withstand the coming turbulence of this era? I'm not sure. Forever. As long as there are citizens in this state who have the will to protect it. Maybe. Personally, I think the spirit of Crossbell could, like, continue to exist, but Crossbell in the way it is, no. They're going to need substantial government-related changes. They can't continue to be an independent state that isn't recognized as its own power. It's just not really gonna work. Noelle. True. Little matters more than having a solid will, resolve, one might say. There are rare instances in time when trends are bucked and the course of history itself is changed. The people are never truly powerless. I don't doubt the potential their resolve can hold. What is he suggesting here? Then you agree. But consider this. What happens when two opposing resolves clash? Well, in this case, it would be a revolution. Because we are technically under you, and if we wrest power from you, at least successfully, it would be termed a revolution. It's simple. The lesser of the two would be engulfed, fanning the flames of upheaval hotter still. Now suppose these Gehenna-born fires were to emerge again and again across the land. The integrity of morality itself would be smelted in the searing heats until the world itself was ablaze. This expression he has on his face just makes me want to punch him. Just saying. Such a phenomenon would surely be easy for you to imagine, would it not? Tio? I can understand how Crossbell's resolve might seem lesser compared to that of the Empire and the Republic. But even a small flame is capable of burning bright. It's not a foregone conclusion that the larger will engulf it. Yeah. Hence the term revolution. Just as it wasn't when the Burl repelled the Imperial Army. Oh, good for them. That's right. It was 12 years ago, during the 100 Days' War. Well played. Resolve is ultimately a question of tenacity. Also, was he implying earlier that if Crossbell rebels, or starts a revolution in this case, that it would start a wave of conflict across the entire continent? It's kind of a bold assumption. That a revolution here would create issues elsewhere. Temporary trade issues, sure, but full out fire, as he stated, I don't know about that. Liberal was small but tenacious. It overcame the shambolic effort the Empire put forward. There is much Crossbell could stand to glean from that moment in time. However, I remain unconvinced that Crossbellans hold the same pride and conviction that the people of the Burl do. Are you trying to start a fight with us? Like, what do you want? I'll leave things at that. Our intermission is coming to a close. He looks so pleased with himself. It's almost slipped my mind. Don't expect any medals from the Imperial government. I don't want your medals. The nobility grows even more irksome when awards are given to commoners. Because I needed one more reason to dislike this guy. Consider yourselves fortunate. Okay, sir, I'm gonna have to ask you to step off. I rarely see His Excellency in such an agreeable mood. What? Seriously? Is that what you call it? He seems to have taken a liking to you. That's what you got out of that conversation? The aggressive taunting? I understand that it may be a tough pill to swallow, but I'd suggest you accept what he had to say. No, you're not my mother. Though perhaps it isn't my place to tell you that, given my position. Oh, okay, so you're aware that it's not your business. That was horrible. That man is a monster. Either way, we can't let it get to us. We have to take his perspective at face value. Hey, Tio, are you okay? You're right, Chad. He is not even named. What is this guy? Hey, Tio, you okay? Yes, I'll be fine. The imagery he invoked was a little too vivid. I got lightheaded was all. He upset my Tio, thus he must die. The end. I can't blame you. Turns out the real terrorist that this conference needed to be concerned about was me as I kill Goliath. I can't blame you. Even I could feel these flames he kept talking about breathing down my neck. This is just how people try to stop a revolution from happening. He's just trying to scare you. He's using a fear tactic to make you think that overthrowing the current order would create a larger problem. You just need to move past it. Calling the Blood and Iron Chancellor a monster is putting things lightly. He believes he holds the whole of Crossbell in the palm of his hand. Maybe, but I'm not so sure he called us here to torment us, believe it or not. The same goes for President Rocksmith. I think the interest they've taken in us is genuine, for better or worse. I think I would say for worse on both accounts. Let's just take it for what it's been, a learning experience. Did we learn anything? Like, intellectually, from either of these conversations? That is one way to look at it. I think it kind of reaffirmed my dislike for both people. I think we could all take a page out of your book once in a while. No kidding. Leave it to Lloyd to make a near-empty glass half full. But he's right. There's no way we can let this slow us down. Moriaris and Randy are twinning today. Earlier, I too agreed with Randy. It was wild. We learned that they are not friendly to Crossbell. Valid. Of course not. What we should do instead is have it propel us forward. There you go. In any case, that just about used up the rest of the intermission. Let's head back to Dudley and report on how both of our meetings went. One is trying to bribe us and one blatantly threatened us, the same day at 4:30 p.m. Just as Mr. Grimwood had predicted, the discourse became more turbulent in the second half of the conference. You feel like you need a shower because you were twinning with Randy? Or because of Osbourne? Because both are a concern. Chancellor Osbourne and President Rocksmith continued to raise question after biting question, each one aimed at Crossbell's security and future. I love that they're questioning Crossbell's security issues when they are the cause of Crossbell's security issues. As the conversation wore on, the looks on Mayor Croyce and Speaker McDowell's faces became even more sullen and stern. Gotta love people who refuse to admit that they are in fact the problem. The heart of the problem is that a lone cult was able to cause so much public disorder in a single night, no less. I hate you. That's all I have to say. Moreover, half of Crossbell's state guard fell under their control, quite literally, at that. Such a failure of security is unprecedented. I thought different parts of the cult were originally like all over the world before, or all over the continent before Arios and my brother and other people like took them out. So they were originally like everywhere. Like it was an everywhere problem, unless I'm remembering wrong. It's just we were unfortunate enough to house the most recent insurgents. Be that as it may, I was under the impression that we had already covered this in full detail. The details are not what is in question. It is the quality of your state's crisis management that so concerns us. I managed the crisis, though? You cannot deny the extent to which that incident endangered the lives and property of Imperial citizens in your borders. Okay, we'll take your citizens back. I don't know, fight me. What do you have to say about that? Now hold on just a moment, Chancellor. Preparations and redresses in the wake of the cult incident have already been administered. Demanding further Mira on top of that will only serve to cast Erebonia in a most unfavorable light. Monetary compensation is not the issue either, Your Highness. The Crossbell state government has still yet to answer how it can comprehensively guarantee its security. Speaker Hartman, your man, was in with the cult. What ground do you have to stand on this issue? What? There is a need to protect the lives, property, and economic interests of all those in and tied to Crossbell. Can such protection truly be assured from a state constantly mired in political gridlock? A state so susceptible to top-down corruption? All of these problems were caused by you, though. Like, you personally, though. If you weren't here, we'd be fine? Pardon me. But I'd heard former Speaker Hartman was immediately removed from office upon his corruption coming to light. Crossbell's political system has proven perfectly capable of self-correction. Would a new security framework not suffice? Crossbell is so helpless. We truly are. And no one is calling him out on being the problem. And our inability to do that is terrible. Big stop hitting yourself vibes. That was a great image. I must disagree, your lordship. Surely you don't believe it would be that easy. Crossbell's political foundation is prone to corruption by nature. Says the man who's trying to bribe our police force. I, of course, acknowledge that Mayor Croyce and Speaker McDowell have been nothing less than outstanding statesmen because they didn't let you bribe them. But what will happen to Crossbell when they're gone? How quickly would things progress without their leadership? I apologize for my cynicism here, but corruption and government have long been inalienable. This is true not only of Crossbell, but of my own kingdom as well. Taking that into consideration, would it not be best for us to observe whether the Speaker and Mayor can bring about political reform during their terms? Pardon me for saying so, Your Highness, but I believe that is rather naive of you. I understand why you would be hopeful. However, the state of Crossbell cannot be so easily compared to a monarchy such as the Burl. Undermining the political system of a land that has no central or traditional authority is a simple feat. History has proven that time and again. That may be true, but what, are you speaking from experience, Osbourne? If I may, my native Calvard is founded upon our Honorable Republic Charter in lieu of a monarchy. It was an impressive undertaking by various powers and groups that gathered after our revolution 100 years ago. With that charter in place, our country knows our system can survive with dignity, even if it, too, may at times be stricken with corruption. So you say, but it is not as though our autonomous state law isn't without its own pride and honor. I'll concede that in our state's young history, imperfections in its design have come to light. But so too is it indisputable that we have been improving upon it slowly but surely. Mr. Grimwood, may I ask how many additional laws and amendments have been passed by Crossbell's government in the last 10 years? But of course, while I don't have the exact figure in front of me, I would estimate 50 in total. Only 50 in 10 years. Why? How can that be? That's an average of just 5 a year. Oh my gosh, you can do simple math. I'm so proud. Perhaps, though the rate has been trending upward in recent times. There were 12 laws passed last year, if I'm not mistaken. This scene really gets under your skin. It's getting under mine too. Like literally, Rocksmith and Osbourne are the problem. We haven't been able to make progress because of them. And then they're harping on us for not making progress. I wonder why. Yes, though admittedly, many of those were merely addendums to existing financial and orbital network provisions. Regardless, I think it's clear that we cannot assume a meaningful new security framework would be so promptly implemented. As I suspected, it would be wiser to seek alternative solutions in the interim. I disagree. We've just stated and proved with your own question that we are on an upward trend of creating change in Crossbell. And you're like, no, it doesn't fit my my story. So no, I don't care that you just proved my statement wrong. I agree wholeheartedly. No one asked you. My. I hadn't realized the two of you had become such close bedfellows. Thank you, Olivert. Thank you. Perhaps you'd care to settle the territorial dispute over the Nord Highlands as well while you're at it? Point well taken, Your Highness. We'll have to leave discussing that matter for another day. Time is growing short, gentlemen. I'd advise we move on to another point of discussion. Very well. Then as proposed by His Excellency, let us now review